Hello and welcome, it's Debs here. I hope you're having a lovely day. I have a little something for you today about fighting. I was talking to a really lovely lady the other day. She is a lady who runs her own business and she's clearly very, very passionate about what she is doing. But she was incredibly tired. Something clearly wasn't right with her. And during the conversation, we got talking and she was talking about how much she fights for what she is doing, how much she fights in her business, how much she fights to get clients, how much this word came up quite a few times. And it was obvious looking at her how tired she was, how exhausted she was. And I don't know about you, but fighting sounds very exhausting to me. And I have seen this in people, in relationships, in businesses, in anything that we do as human beings. It's really easy to accidentally get out of that flow of what we're doing, that love of what it is we're doing, and move into this energy of fighting for what we want. And what I see in that is it's really helpful to stop just for a minute, to just stop and take a breath and come back to a deeper truth inside you. Come back to a deeper truth of who you are. Whatever it is, whether you're just in this conversation exploring it and you're after something, you want something, you need to get something, and you've moved into some kind of frantic fighting energy, a way of being in the world that hurts, that isn't good, just stop. Take a breath and come back to yourself. Come back to the beautiful, beautiful place of silence that you have within you. Come back to understanding something deeper and more profound about who you are. I have found it incredibly helpful when I have days when I'm at work, when I'm sat in front of my computer or I'm working with clients or anything like that, and I get into overwhelm energy, fighting energy, get energy, overdoing it energy, to just come back to what I know to be true. We are thought-generated creatures, and we live in the feeling of what we think. Our thoughts create the reality we see around us. And just becoming aware of what is going on in our mind is incredibly helpful. I know when I was talking to this particular lady, until that moment when I pointed out to her about this fighting that she was doing, she hadn't even realized it. So stopping for a minute and looking, getting used to looking at what's going on inside our own mind, looking at the crazy thinking that we have that goes on 24/7 very often, that we just take as true. Just because a thought is in your head does not make it real and true. And when you stop and listen to that statement, when you meditate on that statement, when you process that, stop and just listen to the implications. Just because a thought is in your head doesn't make it real and true. Understanding that, living by that, knowing that to your very core is a game changer. And we get into these energies of fighting, fighting for what we want, fighting in our business, fighting in these ways, when we forget these things, when we don't know that we don't have to listen to and believe the thinking that we have. And what starts to happen when we begin to question our thinking, when we begin to realize that statement, just because a thought is in my head doesn't make it real and true. When we see the thinking that we are having that leads to the behavior, leads to the way we are behaving, when we just look at a thought and realize that we don't have to take it as truth, we don't have to live by it, we don't have to believe that it is true. When we let ourselves off the hook in that way, it's almost like it reminds me of knitting. I was doing some knitting a while back, and I could knit and knit and create something really, really solid and quite firm. And yet, if I took one of the pins out and pulled the string, it would start unraveling really, really quickly, a lot. And what I find happens when I begin to look at the thinking that is keeping me trapped, that is keeping me fighting, that is keeping me in an energy that I don't want to feel, that I don't want to live in. When I look at my thinking, thought is the missing link to this. Thought is the thing that creates, that does this. As I begin to understand that, it's like knitting. So much in my life can just unravel and not be there in huge, great chunks. Things that looked solid, that looked real, that looked like brick walls, that looked like they were something real, can unravel when we begin to understand our thinking, understand that we don't have to take it as real and true. It is a huge game changer. So I hope there's been something useful in this video. Please do drop comments, share anything that you've got, ask questions. I love it when you do that. And I will pop under this video the links to my website, how to connect with me, how to get onto my mailing list. If you want to dive deeper into this, I'm doing something at the moment called 365 Days of Cracking Creation, where we're looking really deeply into how is it we create what we do? How is it we get into these places in our business, in our relationships, where we're fighting, where we're not having a good time? How do we do that? And how do we create something different? It would be awesome to have you doing that with me. So look at the links below, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you somewhere soon. Take care. Bye for now.